positive affirmations, I will recite the 37 practices of the Bodhisattva. At this time, when the difficult to gain ship of leisure and fortune has been obtained, ceaselessly hearing, pondering, and meditating day and night in order to liberate others and oneself from the ocean of cyclic existence is the Bodhisattva's practice. Second, attachment to loved ones wavers like water, hatred of enemies burns like fire, ignorance that forgets what to adopt and what discard is greatly obscured. Abandoning one's fatherland is the Bodhisattva's practice. Third, when harmful places are abandoned, disturbing emotions gradually diminish. Being without distraction, virtuous endeavors naturally increase. Being clear-minded, certainty in the Dharma rises. Resorting to secluded places is the Bodhisattva's practice. Fourth, long associated companions will part from each other. Wealth and possessions obtained with effort will be left behind. Consciousness, the guest, will cast aside the guest house of the body. Letting go of this life is the Bodhisattva's practice. Fifth, when evil companions are associated with, the three poisons increase. The activities of listening, pondering, and meditation decline, and love and compassion are extinguished. Abandoning evil companions is the Bodhisattva's practice. Sixth, when spiritual friends are relied upon, one's faults are exhausted, and one's qualities increase like the waxing moon. Cherishing sublime spiritual friends even more than one's own body is the Bodhisattva's practice. Seventh, what worldly god, himself also bound in the prison of cyclic existence, is able to protect others. Therefore, when refuge is sought, taking refuge in the undeceiving triple gem is the Bodhisattva's practice. Eighth, the subduer said that all the unbearable suffering of the three lower realms is the fruition of wrongdoing. Therefore, never committing negative deeds, even at peril to one's own life, is the Bodhisattva's practice. Ninth, the pleasure of the triple world, like a dewdrop on the tip of a blade of grass, is imperiled in a single moment. Striving for the supreme state of never-changing liberation is the Bodhisattva's practice. 10. When mothers who have been kind to one since beginningless time are suffering, what is the use of one's own happiness? Therefore, generating the mind of enlightenment in order to liberate limitless sentient beings is the Bodhisattva's practice. 11th, all suffering without exception comes from wishing for one's own happiness. The perfect Buddhas arise from the altruistic mind. Therefore, completely exchanging one's own happiness for the suffering of others is the Bodhisattva's practice. 12th, even if others, influenced by great desire, steal all one's wealth or have it stolen, dedicating to them one's body, possessions, and virtues accumulated in the three times is the Bodhisattva's practice. 13. Even if others cut off one's head when one is utterly blameless, taking upon one's all their negative deeds by the power of compassion is the Bodhisattva's practice. 14. Even if someone broke past throughout the billion worlds all sorts of offensive remarks about one, speaking in turn of that person's qualities with a loving mind is the Bodhisattva's practice. 15. Even if, in the midst of a public gathering, someone exposes faults and speaks ill of one, humbly paying homage to that person, perceiving him as a spiritual friend, is the Bodhisattva's practice. 16. Even if someone for whom one has cared as lovingly as one's own child regards one as an enemy, to cherish that person as dearly as mother does an ailing child is the Bodhisattva's practice. 17. Even if, influenced by pride, an equal or inferior person treats one with contempt, respectfully placing him like a guru at the crown of one's head is the Bodhisattva's practice. 18. Though one may have an impoverished life, always be disparaged by others, afflicted by dangerous illnesses and evil spirits, to be without discouragement and to take upon oneself all the misdeeds and sufferings of beings is the Bodhisattva's practice. 19. Though one may be famous and revered by many people, or gain wealth like that of Vaishravana, having realized that worldly fortune is without essence, to be unconceited is the Bodhisattva's practice. 20. If outer foes are destroyed while not subduing the enemy of one's own hatred, enemies will only increase. Therefore, subduing one's own mind with the army of love and compassion is the Bodhisattva's practice. 21. However much sense pleasures are enjoyed, as when drinking drinking salt water, craving still increases. Immediately abandoning whatever things give rise to clinging and attachment is the Bodhisattva's practice. 22nd. Appearances are one's own mind. From the beginning, mind's nature is free from the extremes of elaboration. Knowing this, not to engage the mind in subject-object duality is the Bodhisattva's practice. 23rd. When encountering pleasing sense objects, though they appear beautiful like a rainbow in the summertime, not to regard them as real and to abandon clinging attachment is the Bodhisattva's practice. 24. Diverse sufferings are like the death of a child in a dream. By apprehending illusory appearances as real, one becomes very. Therefore, when encountering disagreeable circumstances, viewing them as illusory is the Bodhisattva's practice. 25th. If it is necessary to give away even one's own body while aspiring to enlightenment, what need is there to mention external objects? Therefore, practicing generosity without hope of reciprocation or positive karmic results is the Bodhisattva's practice. 26. If lacking ethical conduct, one fails to achieve one's own purpose, the wish to accomplish others' purpose is laughable. Therefore, guarding ethics devoid of aspirations for worldly existence is the Bodhisattva's practice. 27. To Bodhisattvas who desire the wealth of virtue, all those who do harm are like a precious treasure. Therefore, cultivating patience devoid of hostility is the Bodhisattva's practice. 28. Even hearers and solitary realizers who accomplish only their own welfare strive as if putting out a fire on their heads. Seeing this, taking up diligent effort, the source of all good qualities, for the sake of all beings, is the Bodhisattva's practice. 29. Having understood that disturbing emotions are destroyed by insight possessed with tranquil abiding, to cultivate meditative concentration that perfectly transcends the four formless absorptions is the Bodhisattva's practice. 30. If one lacks wisdom, it is impossible to attain perfect enlightenment through the other five perfections. Thus, cultivating skillful means with the wisdom that does not discriminate among the three spheres is the Bodhisattva's practice. 31. If, having the appearance of a practitioner, one does not investigate one's own mistakes, it is possible to act contrary to the Dharma. Therefore, constantly examining one's own errors and abandoning them is the Bodhisattva's practice. 32. If, influenced by disturbing emotions, one points out another Bodhisattva's faults, oneself is diminished. Therefore, not speaking about the faults of those who have entered the great vehicle is the Bodhisattva's practice. 33rd. Because the influence of gain and respect causes quarreling and the decline of the activities of listening, pondering, and meditation, to abandon attachment to the households of friends, relations, and benefactors is the Bodhisattva's practice. 34. Because harsh words disturb others' mind and cause the Bodhisattva's conduct to deteriorate, abandoning harsh speech that is unpleasant to others is the Bodhisattva's practice. 35. When disturbing emotions are habituated, it is difficult to overcome them with antidotes. By arming oneself with the antidotal weapon of mindfulness to destroy disturbing emotions such as desire the moment they first arise is the Bodhisattva's practice. 36. In brief, whatever conduct one engages in, one should ask, what is the state of my mind? Accomplishing others' purpose through constantly maintaining mindfulness and awareness is the Bodhisattva's practice. 37. In order to clear away the suffering of limitless beings through the wisdom, realizing the purity of the three spheres, to dedicate the virtue attained by making such effort for enlightenment is the Bodhisattva's practice.